some point people would. But basically, candidates then go through sharing their experience, things that they worked on, as well as sharing their career progress. Why did they change roles? How their performance was evaluated, and it will also the product helps to get to know each candidate as a human being. Their experiences outside of work. Like for instance, within the Israel context, and I hired a lot of people in Israel. One of the things that you want to sometimes know to help you learn more about the person is, what have they done outside of work, perhaps in military service or in civil service, what unit did they serve, like what kind of life experiences they had. And this is one of the things that will also help do. And as a result, candidates are having pretty good experience, right? Like for, again, something that literally stands between one human being and another human being. You feel like, oh, this company actually made an effort to learn stuff about me that's, beyond just taking me, for my resume. And then as a result, the end benefit to talent teams is you have your entire funnel, not a fraction of it, but 100% of your funnel of your candidates stack ranked based on, who you're actually looking for in terms of, what success in the role looks like and things like that. And then from there, you go, okay, who are my top 10 candidates in this 100 candidate list? And then you can spend time with most relevant candidates as opposed to applicants at the top of the funnel.
What are you what are you already seeing from the use of your tool, like with the clients they're already using, that surprised you? Like what trends are you seeing from
Yeah.
using this tool? Someone asked if you could say a few words about Mokka, your current startup. But let's answer my question and then we can talk a little bit about what you're doing. I thought
Yeah.
this is what we were doing right now, but maybe people want a little
I'll,
bit.
I'll share. I'll share two things. The one that positively surprised us beyond the imagination, and the one that's more negatively, let's say, surprised us. Right. The
Mhm.
more positive surprise was how much candidate experience matter, and I really mean it. I mean, it's like, yes, we all know it matters. Every talent team has it as part of their, 5 KPIs and whatnot. But it's been a game changer for us. We've invested so much in it. I mean, some would argue maybe like too much on our team, would say. Uh, but
So what does
even
it
now,
mean? Like, what did you see?
what we're seeing as a result is we're actually seeing companies reach out to us because we don't do practically any marketing outside of me, maybe like posting on LinkedIn. We see companies reaching out to us because someone in their network had an experience with Mokka as a candidate. And to our team, we're like, wow, I mean, that's the biggest compliment that we could possibly ask for, like for the work that we've done. So candidates are having an amazing experience trickling down into uh, companies figuring out that that's really important and then reaching out to us. That's been like super, super positive learning and experience for us. How important is it to nail the candidate experience and how it can, result in positive action in
Mhm.
ways that you could not have expected.
So you're saying that the company will gain a competitive edge just by having something that can provide like a premium sort of like experience in the application phase.
I mean, it's something that creates this ripple effect. I mean, how long, like since Efrat, you have heard of an application experience that people raved about? It's like never, right? Mostly it's a miserable experience for everyone.
Yeah.
Like people go to some career web page or like some greenhouse page and then they fill a long form or some very short but still ugly form. It's not something to write home about.
Can you say a few words about your company, Mocha? What are you like? We talked a little bit about it from different angles, but not addressed it directly, and people are asking. So would be
Yeah,
you can say a few words.
yeah, totally. What Mokka is, it's an AI system for talent teams that helps you screen resumes and conduct the initial screening interviews with candidates. Basically starts with learning what the role is, by taking the job requisition or the job description from your ATS. The one thing that nobody wants on any talent team is more tools, right? Like more tool bloat. And so we try to like minimize the negative impact of having to use something more and maximize the value. And the way we do it is we ensure that Mokka is integrated bidirectionally with your ATS, meaning that if you rejected a candidate in Mokka or shortlisted a candidate in Mokka or in ATS, that is reflected in both systems, and you don't need to go like back and forth between the two as much. But ATSs are also notoriously not amazing for helping you make hiring decisions. They're great for managing the pipeline, for
Mhm.
moving people from one stage to another, but they don't really help make hiring decisions. And this is where we come in by helping you screen resumes and conduct the initial screening interview with candidates, where every candidate that applied, right? Let's end up being in your greenhouse. They get an invitation to the next step, which is the step of Mokka online experience share. I wouldn't even call it an assessment, to be honest. We first used to call it an assessment. It's not, because you're not feeling that you're being assessed. Your experience as a candidate with Mokka is you're just sharing the stuff that you worked on, and why did you change roles, and how was your performance evaluated, etc. And the one thing that distinguishes us from other solutions in the market, because you could do this job of screening candidates in so many different ways, right? Some people use skill assessments, psychometric assessments, videos, so much stuff out there. The one thing that sets us apart is focus on evidence or data, like past performance. Can't say this enough. It's the best predictor of future performance in lieu of a crystal ball.
Mhm.
Yes, we also want to look at other things, but how well someone did in the past is data that will help you collect without building a super complex process and many spreadsheets that are hard to follow and all that. So instantly with Mokka, your screening becomes more data driven. And the other thing is candidate experience. We already talked about it. Uh, Super important element, and will help address it as well.
I want to ask you one last question and then maybe open it up for folks here. Maybe they have some, although people did tap in. But what's one piece of advice you can? I mean, most of the people on this call are talent leaders. I assume there are a few other people on this call, but like, what do you think is the element that should be maybe thought talent leaders should rethink in their hiring strategies? This year, next couple of years, like what should they be mindful of?
I think the unprecedented opportunity that AI offers is to expand our reach, expand our talent access. We're no longer limited, guys, by how many resumes or how many screening interviews our team has conducted. Think about that. I used to be the guy, and we have you, Gett, here on the call. We worked together in the past, and uh, I used to be the person who's like, you got to go with the best doctor for approach in recruitment. You got to do a lot of outbound because that's how you find the best candidates. And I'm sure many on this call would agree. Uh, but what if you could infinitely expand your capacity to actually screen the inbound? Sorry, I was talking about the outbound. Like, you know, as opposed to reaching out, finding some amazing candidate that may not even be looking for a job. Yes, still a valid strategy, right? But what if your capacity, what if your muscle, so to speak, for interviewing and screening everyone who applied was practically infinite? What does it do to your talent acquisition strategy? Wouldn't you want to cast this, imaginary net super wide? And yeah, maybe a lot of people that apply are irrelevant. This is what the problem was with inbound historically. But what if, again, it doesn't really bother you? Like it's not like you have to spend all this time screening every resume and every candidate that applies. So I would think how that changes my strategy. And I will also be super focused on how can I leverage AI to create an amazing candidate experience as a differentiator. Because I think two things that are mm, seem to be in conflict and it's somewhat controversial, but
Mhm.
actually not, is yes, right now we're in a fairly rich job, talent market. It's more of an employer market. But also, I think the standard for the candidate experience keeps going up. I mean, if someone is not yet subscribed to the Reddit channel called Recruiting Hell, please do. It really opens it really opens the door into the candidate experience and what people are going through.
Yeah.
Because we're not ready on the talent side, by the way. Like again, we've talked about how candidates are faster at adopting all those tools. On the company side, on the business side, we're not ready for this. And
Mm.
candidates also suffering, even more so than they used to.
Thank you for that. Okay, so I'm going to open this up for questions. So if anyone has anything that we haven't covered or you're just curious about, feel free. And if you don't want to talk, just send your question in the chat.
Hey Max, I have a question. What interests me is about adopting, I think Efrat touched it before, about how you are feeling with like paying customers, with the adoption of like new tools like that. Because obviously, and we are all feeling that I can say that for myself, that HR and talent tools that are quite expensive usually, and not always our business partners are willing to participate, and we
Yeah.
need like to sell it to them as well. And how like with the title of like an AI tool, how you are looking at your point of view of the adoption of like companies for the technology, like if we're talking about like paying customers.
Right. So a couple of things come to mind there. One is the way we're approaching building Mokka is we would very much like Mokka to be uh, not a tool that you
Mhm.
and adopt, and something that as much as possible joins your team, you tell it what to do and hits the ground running. That's the vision and what we're aiming for. Now, today it means that, we do a lot of hand holding. We practically play the role of this. We talked about recruitment engineer.
Yeah.
Someone, but still, like, regardless of how amazing the AI is, you still wanted to adapt to your company, like to
Mhm.
your how you do things, right? So we do this part, like we practically serve as your recruitment engineer in the meantime until people have actually this role, which I predict will happen or start happening this year even. So we do this part for you. And then we just steer clear of literally like at the product design level. Does this look like something that I don't want to put everyone on the spot, but like, does this look like this notoriously horrible ATS thing,
Mhm.
right? That's the thing. Like we try to avoid menus and we try to avoid buttons. The best button is the one that doesn't exist, but the job is done. Like that's how we think about the product. And then I think you've touched, if I caught it right, like an interesting point on adoption. Maybe that's not what you meant, but I'll touch on it because I think it's relevant. Is adoption by hiring managers because that's a whole different thing. Let's say
Yep.
like recruitment team bought this amazing shiny ATS and it even works great, right? How do we get hiring managers to use it? That's always been a challenge. You won't. I think that's my answer. You
Mhm.
won't. The reason it happen,
Mhm.
right? It will happen, but differently. Is they use it like most managers hire a couple of times a year. We can't expect them to learn even the most amazing ADS and then log in and like be able to just go, yeah, boom, 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 right? That's not going to happen. What I think will happen is, well, is there will be an AI agent internally. Think of it as, again, your assistant, right? That
Yeah.
goes where hiring managers are, which is email, Slack, maybe WhatsApp, and does what you guys are doing today, right? Hey, Max, there's 20 people that I want you to look at that are in the final stages, that I screened. Can you tell me which ones you like? Right? Like, that's the
Mhm.
role of AI here. So it's an agent that is where your hiring managers are. Not no longer they will need to like log into all those systems and adopt them.
Mhm. Mhm.
Interesting.
Okay. Great answer. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Itai. Uh, so, Max, where can people find you in case they want to hear more or just chat, get connected?
Yeah, just ping me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. That's where my customers are. That's where you guys all are. I know everyone's LinkedIn inboxes here are super bloated. Uh, but yeah, just send me a DM uh, on LinkedIn. I think my email is also in the invite for this.
Right.
Is
And I did my best to record the session. Uh, I recorded it, but it like for some reason there was this AI agent that started recording before I had a chance to, so it kind of broke into two. I'll have to mend them, but I'm sure it's recorded, so I'm gonna send this to everyone later, uh, and maybe even send a summary. Or AI will do the summary. We'll see. Whatever. So I wanted to thank everyone today and wish you a very good weekend, and thank Max for spending some time with us.
Thanks so much for having me. It was so good to see you.
I'm gonna add some contact information and maybe your site, Max, in case someone wants to look into it more closely.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks, Max.
everyone. Take care.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Efrat, for doing
Bye.
it. Thank you, everyone. It was good to see you all. Bye bye.
Bye.